Hello, everyone. Tom Matthews here, and
Good morning.
Joanne Toronto are here with Coffee with Tom and Joanne. And today we would like to talk about buyers in the real estate market, specifically to the greater Boston area. Um, and Joanne and I, we were privileged and pleased to be able to help 25 families this past year in 2020 get keys to their new home. But as we enter December, we are starting to get a lot of phone calls from friends and family members who have friends who were in the market this past year and were unsuccessful in securing a home. We all know we had historically low levels of homes available and a tremendous amount of buyers that were fueled with low interest rates and wanting to get out of the city. And
Yeah.
Joanne and I want to take a minute today, 10 minutes to be exact, to tell you a little bit about our process and what you can be doing to best position yourself so that when you're out viewing homes and writing offers, you know you're going to write an offer that you will secure the home. So Joanne, why don't you tell them a little bit about what we do to help make buyers successful?
So if you were in the market this year and you were unsuccessful in securing a home for yourself, um, you know, oftentimes it is a learning process to get started. And, some people decide to learn as they go, and some people will decide to, connect with the right person, put the plan in place, and move forward in that fashion. For us, we're very much into the planning process because your entry into the market is very, very important, especially if you're planning to sell a property at the same time. Your exit strategy is as important as your entry strategy into your new property. So what we like to start with is asking you to sit down with whoever you're buying with, or if you're buying by yourselves, just sit down and take the time to write up 2 lists for us. And on those lists, we want one list to be, what are the things that you need, right? So you might need a certain number of bedrooms, you might need a certain location, you might need certain accessibility options. And those are really kind of the nuts and bolts that are going to start your framework for search. The second list are the things that you want, right? So you want a 2-car garage, you want a fenced yard, you want, an updated kitchen. Those are things that we will definitely take into consideration. And what this does is it creates a conversation for us to start your planning process to search for a new home. And part of what we like to do is to help people become laser focused on what they really want. And by watching the market before you're ready to enter it, you're able to form an opinion on what you see online, or maybe you've attended some open houses, to be able to craft that list and be as focused as possible. Now, you're not married to that list, so you don't have to stick to it. And we've had clients that tell us that they want to start looking for a condo and end up buying a house, or vice versa. So what we like to do is set ourselves up for a great initial conversation where we can sit down and talk about what's going to be successful for you.
And I just want to add, Joanne, that when you have this list and you've had this clarity and this conversation, when the right home comes up that may meet many of the features on that list, you may be more inclined to lean in and really do, or maybe stretch a little bit to get that home because it does meet all of the criteria. Because maybe you overpay for a home by $5,000 or $10,000, which amortized over 30 years is $25, $50 a month, but it has the features you want because you've gone through this exercise and you're going to be happy in this home. You're more inclined and be less concerned about the money. And because the biggest buyer remorse we get is that people will stretch into a home that doesn't have the features that they needed and wanted. And that's where unhappiness comes from.
Yeah. So what we try to do is, once you have these lists created, then we set up a Zoom, and we sit down. It's about, it could take an hour, it could take an hour and a half, it could take 20 minutes, depending on really what your level of experience is in the market, and also what it is you're looking and how specific you can get. So during that initial Zoom meeting, what we try to do is teach you everything you need to know, excuse me, about the buying process and what it looks like in the current market. And because the market is always a shifting target, it's really important to kind of get down on what specific items you're going to be looking at in the market you're looking in. And what that does is it helps us set up a roadmap for you. And we set out a plan, and you tell us what your lifestyle is, when you're working, when you're available to look at houses, so that we can be really specific and meld our schedules together so that we can provide the highest level of service at a time that's convenient for you and your family.
Yeah, because Joanne and I do a lot of business planning and teaching, and we always say that goals without a plan are just wishful thinking. And if you've been in the market trying to buy a home and you haven't taken it that seriously, and you're sitting there saying, man, I missed out on 3, 4, 5, 6 homes, there's a reason for that. Because there were lots of people buying homes, and we had clients, they didn't have to waive home inspection, they didn't have to waive financing, they didn't have to get crazy, and they secured homes. And obviously we had some who did have to waive those things, but it was on a case-by-case basis. I mean, Joanne was fortunate enough to help a veteran buy a very expensive home. They did a very thorough home inspection, had a very thorough financing contingency, and they secured a beautiful home. So regardless of your situation, you can buy a home, but you have to be properly prepared. So, we just wanted to take some time this week and talk about that. Was there anything else we want to cover today, Joanne?
I wanted to talk about the importance of, after that initial meeting and when you get out and you're looking at properties, just having the team in place. So working with agents like Tom and myself, we can help you put the team in place of all the professionals you need to get from the looking stage to the closing table, because your team is just as important as finding the house, because your experience in buying the house is really important to us. And we want you to enjoy the experience. We try to make it fun and lighthearted, but it's also a financial investment. So also, for those who are watching that maybe are not in our market, we have a very large network through Sotheby's that we're able to connect with quality agents that we've met across the country and across the world in different walks of life, that are able to help our friends and family that are not in our core market area, but might need some assistance or some advice from somebody in their market.
Great. Well, thank you, Joanne. And thank you to all of our listeners today. So we want to wish everyone a great day, and we'll be back again next week. Cheers.
Cheers.